January 27th, the day of military glory of Russia. On this day, in 1944, Soviet troops completely liberated the city of Leningrad from the Nazi siege. Hitler wanted to wipe the city of Leningrad off the face of the earth, but the hero city became an impregnable fortress. The inhabitants of Leningrad stood for 900 days, despite the huge sacrifices, hunger, and cold. On January 27, 1944, a fireworks display in honor of the winners thundered in Leningrad. The Siege of Leningrad is one of the most tragic and heroic chapters in the history of mankind. Today they cry, today they sing. Today, there are fireworks all over city. Today, the citizens of Leningrad aren't hiding their tears. To glorify the heroic deed of Leningrad, the fireworks were held not in the capital, but in the city of Leningrad itself. The siege began on September 8, 1941. The second capital of the USSR was besieged by German and Finnish troops. The enemy failed to capture Leningrad, but condemned the population of the huge city to starvation, shelling, and bombing. From the very beginning, the Germans were going to destroy the city along with all its inhabitants. The Führer decided not to accept the surrender of Leningrad, even if surrender had been offered. All persons trying to leave the city must be driven away by fire. This is how the directives of the German command sounded on October 7, 1941. In 2022, the St. Petersburg City Court recognized the blockade of Leningrad by German and Finnish troops as genocide. According to the court's definition, the number of victims among the population significantly exceeds the previously established 649,000. In fact, it is no less than 1,093,000 people. On November 20 of 1941, there was a fifth decrease in the bread distribution rate for the population of Leningrad. For a working food stamp, 250 grams of bread per day, and for the rest of the types of food stamps, 125 grams a day. 125 grams of bread, mixed with blood and fire. This is below the physiological norm of survival. The mass death of Leningrad residents from starvation began. My mom died on the 17th of May, 1942. The Savichev family has died. Everyone is gone. Only Tanya is still alive. This is the last entry in the siege diary of 12-year-old Tanya Savicheva, in which she recorded the deaths of 6 of her closest relatives. The diary was there among the other evidence of the prosecution at the Nuremberg trials. One of those who died of dystrophy and starvation right at the workplace was Daniel Kudinin, a baker that was preparing the bread. Citizens, under artillery fire, this side of the street is the most dangerous. Such memorial inscriptions can be found in St. Petersburg, left as a memory. During the years of the siege, the Germans fired 150,000 shells at the city. One of these killed 12 children on Vasilyevsky Island on May 9, 1942. The kindergarten of the Uritsky factory went for a walk. There were exactly 3 years left before the victory over fascism. On December 3, 1943, one of the 140 German shells fired that day hit a tram on Route 12. 50 people were killed. A little boy named Valentin, who was taking this bus from school and was wounded in the leg, wrote to the front, "Soldiers, please avenge me and the other kids." The Nevsky Potachok, which is the name of the Neva bridgehead, became a symbol of military valor of the Leningraders. On the night of September 20, 1941, the landing force recaptured a bridgehead on the left bank of the Neva River from the Germans. On November 9, 1941, the 1st Shock Communist Regiment joined the fight on Nevsky Potachok. By evening, only a third of the fighters remained alive. You, the living, know that we did not want to leave this earth, and we did not leave, we died, so that you could live. This is how the inscription on the monument dedicated to the defenders of the bridgehead sounds, and the city of Leningrad kept on living. On May 31, 1942, the legendary match of life took place at the Dynamo Stadium. The players did not have the strength to leave the field. The goalkeeper of the Dynamo team, Namatov, was the defender of the Nevsky bridgehead. On August 9, 1942, Shostakovich's Seventh Symphony was performed in the besieged city. The Leningrad Symphony. The composer began writing it when the siege ring closed around Leningrad. On September 12, 1941, the first ships arrived at the port of Asinovets on the Ladoga River, which delivered 800 tons of grain and 60 tons of ammunition for the besieged Leningrad. The legendary Road of Life began to work. On November 21, the first column crossed the ice of Lake Ladoga to the mainland. In total, 1,370,000 people were evacuated along the Road of Life. The defense of the city was led by a member of the Political Bureau, Andrei Zhdanov, and the commander of the Leningrad Front, Leonid Govorov. During the years of the siege, Zhdanov left Leningrad only 8 times, and each time only for a couple of days. For the report, Govorov wrote the following from the besieged city in 1942: "I am responsible for Leningrad, and I will not give it up to the enemy." The siege was broken on January 18, 1943. I saw with what joy the fighters of the Leningrad and Volkhov fronts, who broke the siege, rushed to greet each other. It was truly a long-suffering joy. Georgy Zhukov wrote. On January 14, 1944, after 65 minutes of artillery preparation, the Second Shock Army, which occupied positions on the Iranian-bound bridgehead, launched an offensive against Rapsha. An operation aimed to fully lift the siege, called January Thunder, has begun. And already on January 27, Govorov and Zhdanov addressed the troops and residents of Leningrad with a statement. Brave and stoic Leningraders, together with the troops of the Leningrad Front, we defended our hometown. The war ended. On July 8, 1945, Guards units marched into the city from 3 sides. Triumphal arches stood in their way. The troops marched for 6 hours. A parade took place on the Palace Square. The pennon of the Leningrad Front from the Victory Parade was being carried by the marching people. On May 8, 1965, Leningrad was awarded the title of Hero City.